Hello, I'm Becca from New Hope Church. I'm going to be sharing some verses from John 15, verses 9 to 11, in an ESV version. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. The things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. I always think we know what God's love is like, and then I push more for myself and I realize, oh, there's more. And I just have the sense that there's always going to be more of God's love that we can continue pushing into. Even when we get to eternity with him, there's still going to be more of God to understand and that love to experience. And I find it so encouraging, particularly about how it's our connection with God is from what God has done in the first place. Jesus, who is God, is the Trinity thing. This isn't about the Trinity. But Jesus, who is God, he tells us to abide in his love. As the King James puts it, continue ye in my love. That's what he's telling us. It's that continuation of staying in connection with him, that relationship. We're able to have the relationship because of what Jesus did. Jesus made us right with God. And that continues because of the same thing, because Jesus makes us right with God. It's that relationship is continuing in that. And I always find that so encouraging. And just knowing that God is perfect love. And now in the world there's some distorted ideas of what love is, or misunderstood. But the Bible teaches us that love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. That's 1 Corinthians 13, 4 to 7 even. But just it's one that many people will have heard probably at weddings. But it's not just about a marriage type of love. It's about our relationship with each other. It's very specifically in a letter that's talking about church family, loving each other and knowing how to worship together for God's glory and working together in love for each other to support each other. It's about the connections with each other. It's not just one kind of relationship. It's all the relationships where this love is to come into play, and I find that challenging. And then I remember that I can ask God to help me in it, and he will, because his Holy Spirit's in me, and it makes it easier, kind of more encouraging anyway. And just it's so good knowing that God is perfect love. Like there's no flaw in him. He is love to its fullest, love in its perfection. And we get to remain in that connection to that. And when we do, we get to experience the fullness of God. When we stay rooted in him. You'll see these three verses reminded me of Ephesians 4:14 to 19. For this reason I bow my knees before the Father, from whom every family in heaven and earth is named, that according to the riches of his glory he may grant you to be strengthened with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may have strength to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and length and height and depth, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with the fullness of God. To know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that you be filled with the fullness of God. Just this whole being rooted and grounded is that connection and being the branches of the vine, and it's re-emphasizing about how we all do it, how we do it for the strength of his Holy Spirit in us. And I find all of this so encouraging, that it's about that relationship and making that connection, and that connection can be doing the dishes, mopping the floor, walking, driving, whatever your few minutes alone can be. And if you have more time, then that's great. But I know many people are short on time these days. And God's with us throughout. That's not an issue for him. It's that heart connection with him. And I just love that he's always ready to help us in that kind of thing. And as that ended with that love of Christ, and it gives us the fullness of God, it very much is like verse 11, where these things I've spoken to you, that my joy and delight may be in you, and that your joy may be full and made complete and overflowing. Those changes are how the Amplified Version extends it. But that joy and delight, like that's not a joy deep in my soul. It's not pretending to be happy when circumstances are rubbish, but it's even when circumstances are rubbish, God can give us joy. And it can be a real joy and a real delight because of God, not the rubbish that's going on around us. And it's a joy that makes full and overflowing, that is noticeable and blesses others. We all know the difference of when we're in a good mood and others have benefited from it, than when we're in a less than good mood and others have to deal with the rubbish of that. And yet here God is encouraging us, when we stay in him, when we have that connection with him, he can help us have that joy. He can give us that gift. Maybe we need to ask for it and dig for it a bit more. But he is a source of our joy. He, our perfectly loving Father, has good things for us to feel joy for in him. It's just so encouraging. I hope this has encouraged you too. God bless.